Okay, perfect. How many of you really love the song which I played before this particular session? I was seeing a lot of comments that were very lovely song, lovely song, lovely song. Great, 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 great. So it is day 5 of this amazing TechEdge program which is brought to you by PrepLeaf by Masai. Can anyone here tell me that what it is going to be all about today? Any guesses out here? Any guesses? What exactly will be the topic covered today? Come on, guys. I want each and every one of you to at least take one guess. Service-based companies, how to crack interviews, solving real-based problems. Okay, okay. Interview questions, problem-solving skills, life. Someone is saying life. Interesting. A real interview, service-based company, how to crack interviews. So again, it is all revolving around service-based companies and cracking interviews. Okay. Yes, you are a bit close to it, and we'll be letting you know what exactly is the whole agenda of today's meet. But before moving onward, with what we have planned for you in today's session ahead, what I would like to know is how many of you attended the previous day's session? How many of you attended the session which was, which took place the last evening? Okay. In one word, can you tell me what did you learn yesterday? In one word. Come on, I know a lot of you attended, but can you tell me what did you learn yesterday in one word? DSA. Okay, data structures and algorithm. Different between service and product-based companies. Awesome. What else, guys? What else? Web development. Okay. Okay. Learned about DSA. Learned about DSA. Out of the box thinking. Okay. Problem solving. Come on. Now someone is finally saying problem solving. Okay. Risk needed to crack to project-based companies. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So which means that a lot of you still in the day 5, till the day 5 are paying attention to what sessions we are covering. That is important, guys. That is important, right? Every now and then I keep on seeing comments that Vivek, can you please tell me when we will be getting our certificates? That is important, I know, but more than that, what is important is whatever we are teaching you, whatever we are introducing all of you to, it might be very new for maybe 90% of you, but ingraining those concepts, ingraining those learning is something which should be your first priority. Okay. Being said that, I'll be introducing the guest of the day, the man of the hour. Uh, Along with that, the topic as well. I think he'll be covering a lot with respect to that topic, but let me also give you a sneak peek. So yes, today's topic, which we will be covering, will be exploring the service-based company stars, right? With something which Sydney yesterday covered was a bit more about product-based. Today we'll be covering a bit more about service-based. Okay, so we have categorized all of these topics by thinking, by having a good discussion within ourselves, as in to give you more idea, about what are the kind of domains, what are the kind of opportunities you will be getting as a web developer. Perfect. Now let me just start by introducing the man of the hour. He's none other than Mr. Ankush Chimnani. He belongs from Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh. Maybe some of you also belong from that area. So you can say, Vivek, okay, we are able to connect with him. He did his BTech in computer science from DY Patil College of Engineering, which comes under Pune University. He's a highly efficient and result-driven business professional who joined Masai while he was in his final year. That is September 2022. That is very amazing, given the kind of intellect this guy is having. I am totally able to get the vibe that you all will be awed by his intellect. Currently, he holds the position of lead curriculum engineer at Masai School and works with the data structures and algorithm team. So a lot of you were curious about, DSA, and I believe two of our instructors already covered a bit about DSA. Sydney also covered something about DSA. And in the very first session, which Mr. Aman Watch took, he also covered something about DSA. But here in front of you is the man of the hour, Ankush Shimnani. The stage is over to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Vivek. Thank you very much for this. Okay, I think first of all, hey everyone, hi. Am I audible? Can you please confirm? Just put up a yes or no in the chat. Okay, awesome. Cool. So, hey folks, hi. Vivek was gracious enough to introduce me. Of course, a lot of that was quite nice. So thanks for that. My name is Ankush. As Vivek mentioned, I come from a place called Jabalpur. I did my engineering from DY Patil College of Engineering in Pune. Um, I graduated in 2020. 2020 was a weird year, so I graduated at the end of it, which was December. But I joined Masai in September of 2020, which was like 3-4 months before I graduated. What are the things I've done at Masai? For the lot of time, I've been an instructor. I've been involved with different teams. I've been fortunate enough to work with different sides of things, like placement team, admissions team, the tech team, the marketing team now. So I'm close to finishing 3 years at Masai. Now, why am I here today is just to ensure that I can pass on some of the things that I've learned over my career when I was trying to get a job. And eventually, after I got into a job, I was fortunate enough to be a part of a lot of students who came from Masai. I joined Masai when we had graduated like what, 60, 70 folks. And now we have placed more than 3,000 students. So I can say I'm lucky enough to be part of a lot of students' journeys. And yeah, that's exactly why I'm here to share a little bit about that. I hope that sounds good, everyone. All okay? Someone is mentioning you're audible, but please be louder. Definitely 100%. Is this voice okay? 100%? Cool. Awesome. Behind me, you can see this is Bangalore, a little bit crowded actually today, but it's Monday, right? So you can expect. Okay. But quite a nice vibe. You can see a nice mall out front. So one of the things when I was graduating, one of the things that I wanted to have in my life was exposure to the big cities. I had been in Pune. Pune is decently a big size city, but you always want more, right? So Bangalore was the next step. Now, coming to what are we going to do today, guys? Just a few expectations from my side. Please be interactive. Please ask questions, because there's no point of being in a session if you can't ask questions. Please ask questions. Please put it in the chat, right? And I would ensure that I come back and forth for some questions every now and then, right? And have fun. We're going to have some discussions. Most of it is pretty serious business, right? You're getting a job, trying to get a job. It's serious business, but try to have fun, right? I'll try to put in some facts for you, which are quite fun actually, right? So let's have conversations along those lines. And yeah, that's it. Straight away, I got a question. How did you join Masai? Simple. I went to the website. I applied. I went through a few interviews and I got it. That's it. Very simple. Okay. Cool. Okay. Everyone ready? Everyone sorted? Everyone excited? Everyone comfortable? Sab sahi? Badhiya? Ekdam? Okay. Awesome. Someone is asking, were you a Masai student? Actually not. Unfortunately not, but I was an employee straight away. Would have loved to be a student, but wasn't a student. Koi baat. There are some things which you don't get. That's okay. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen. What I need after this is you guys to confirm whether you can see my screen or not. Okay. Yep. Let me just do that. Okay. Can you guys please confirm if you can see my screen? Okay. Awesome. 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 Great. So let's start with the topic of today. Why did we choose this topic? क्यों बात कर रहे हैं हम service based companies या why is there a differentiator between, let's say, product based companies and service based companies? क्या फर्क होता है, क्यों फर्क होता है, क्या चूज करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, right? Whatever it is. Okay. So first of all, tell me how many of you are aware of the term service based companies. You must have got a lot of insights about product based companies yesterday, right? And I think a sort of differentiator was also covered. कि क्या फर्क होता है दोनों में, right? Okay. Someone is saying mass recruiter. Actually, that's not the way. That's a, what do you say, side effect of it, right? Mass recruitment, they hire a lot of students. That doesn't mean it's all there. Less packages, that's a myth. That's a proper myth, right? Less packages is a myth, guys. Trust me on that. Okay, cool. There's a very simple way to define this. Okay, what is a product-based companies? Product-based companies earn money through their products. Simple. Product-based companies earn money through their product. Okay, like let's say Amazon. Amazon has a product which is an e-commerce store. It's a product, right? So they earn money through that. What are service-based companies? They provide services, right? They provide services. Like let's say I have an app. Okay, it's well built, amazing. My product is selling, but I need someone to do the maintenance of it. What do I mean by maintenance? Just some simple stuff, right? Some maintenance stuff which has to be done, and I need someone to do it for me. I can't hire developers, right? Let's say I don't have the budget, but I need someone to maintain it. I can outsource it, right? Another very good example is, how many of you heard of Jio? Jio, Jio, Reliance Jio, of course. Everyone heard of it? Most of you might be using it at this point of time. Jio captures a huge, significant market of the telecom industry. How many of you are aware that TCS was also involved with Jio when they were setting up fibers? It's not a one-day thing, right? This process took a lot of time, and they needed someone, right? They needed someone who could set up the initial fiber for them. TCS did that. Now, someone is asking, what is TCS? A very good question. TCS is short for Tata Consultancy Services, right? Which is one of the biggest companies in the world, right? And do you know how many people TCS hires every year? Just take a random guess. How many people TCS hires every year? 1 million, too big. Okay. 50,000, close. 1 lakh, slightly above. Exactly. People always end up saying this word thousands, but you know, if you go and do the exact calculation for, let's say, the last 3-4 years, the average comes out to 40,000. Not all of them, of course, end up joining, or other things come up, or not all of them clear the required criteria and everything when they do those checks, but roughly they offer to 40,000 students. 40,000 guys, 40,000. And same is the number for Infosys, right? Do you know what is GDP? How many of you have heard of this thing called as gross domestic product? How many of you have heard of it? Awesome. Amazing. Great. If anyone doesn't understand GDP, it's simple. What is the country's income? Right? As a country, hum logo ki income kitni hai? Do you know, if I divide all the income that has been generated by the entire country, uska ek significant percent, how significant I'll tell later, comes from these service-based companies. Do you know what is the percentage of it? What percentage of income, directly or indirectly, comes from these service-based companies? 4%? No, definitely not. Come on, take a guess. Just imagine, no, 40,000 people working, 40,000 tax-paying citizens working in these companies. So indirectly also you're affecting, no? Yes, the number roughly amounts to 47%. 47% of our GDP is directly or indirectly now comes from these service-based companies, directly or indirectly, guys. So these are massive companies who have massive opportunities. And trust me, it's not like they don't pay. You just have to be good enough. Exactly. Simple. You have to be good enough to convince them so that they are willing to pay you, right? It's not like they only pay whatever you've heard. They pay much higher than that, but you just have to be good enough. Getting my point? All okay? समझ में आया? हम क्यों बात कर रहे हैं? क्यों एकदम अलग से एक दिन निकाल के हम सर्विस बेस्ड कंपनीज की बात कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि बहुत सारी जॉब्स हैं, बहुत अच्छी जॉब्स हैं, and high paying as well. आप समझ रहे हो? How many of you are able to understand that? Got the point? Why are we dedicating one entire day for this? Awesome. Great. Awesome. Sure. So now, what are service-based companies? I think I explained that quite a bit, right? So service-based companies, basically what they end up doing, they earn money by providing services. Now that services can be maintenance of your database. That services can be building the product itself, the first iteration of the product itself. That can be, just providing maintenance software. That can be anything. And that's why TCS, why am I referring TCS here? Because they're one of the largest, right? TCS has what you say, clients in more than 200 countries. The number of countries which are registered under United Nations is 210. They have 200 clients from 200 different companies, right? Quite a lot. Okay. So next, now why service-based companies are needed? Any question here? Like किसी को ऐसा लग रहा है ये वाला सवाल थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है कि क्यों जरूरत है? मैंने प्रोडक्ट बनाया, हमारी कंपनी ने प्रोडक्ट बनाया, मैं खुद ही मेंटेनेंस क्यों नहीं कर सकता? या मुझे क्यों किसी और की जरूरत पड़ रही है, किसी और कंपनी की जरूरत पड़ रही है? इतनी बड़ी कंपनी जो 200 कंपनीज में क्लाइंट है, तो $6 बिलियन का मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन. Simple. Please explain in English only. Yeah, of course. I'll ensure that it's there. It is budget friendly. That's a fairly good point. One itself cannot handle everything. That's a really good point. To run along with international standards, 100%. Right? To divide work, 100%. See, guys, the game is very simple. Okay, I have an amazing product, right? I can do X part of the job really well, but there's another part of the job, right? Like, let's say today, let's say if I'm here, what I can do, maybe Vivek can't do it, or what Vivek can do, maybe I can't do it. So we both need each other. Similarly, different companies have a lot of requirements, right? They need a lot of things, right? I'll give you a very simple example to explain this. How many of you have heard of this coffee shop called as Starbucks? कितनों ने सुना है Starbucks? हाँ, कितनों को पता है? Heard of it? Okay, nice. Quite a few. Nice. Starbucks is famous, huh? Do you know every time you go to a Starbucks store in India, वहां पे नीचे लिखा होगा a Tata company, right? Or by Tata. Have you seen it? Starbucks by Tata. Starbucks by Tata. No, Tata has not started Starbucks, right? Everyone knows this. A Tata Alliance, exactly. It has acquired? No, it hasn't acquired it. What it has done is it has acquired its India business. Like, let's say if Starbucks comes to India, what they'll need? They'll need to set up stores. They'll need to buy land. They'll need to build shops. They'll need to do everything from scratch. Correct? Simple, hai na? Right? What are the Indian rules around this? Everything they'll have to manage on their own. Hiring, employees, coffees, everything. So what they did was, they said, okay, let's do one thing. Tata already has stores, so many of them. Tata already has land, so much of it. Tata knows everything about the country. Amazing. Let me just do one thing. Let's ask them. My brand goes there, but let's ask them to maintain it. समझ में आ रहा है where I'm coming from? Why service-based companies are required? How many of you are able to understand this bit? Why do we need this? It's a very simple example. If Starbucks would have come to India on its own, it would have taken it 5-10 years to set it up. But now it doesn't need it. It just needs Tata's help. And what Tata does is take some profit out of it. Exactly. Absolutely right. That's why service-based companies are needed. Very simple example, not making it tech agnostic, right? So that everyone can understand. Exactly, Aman. Really nice example. Right. Okay. So let's move on. Everyone okay so far? All good? Any questions? Anyone wants to address anything? Good. I'd love to take questions, guys. Okay. All good. Awesome. Cool. Let's move on. No. What are the top service-based companies of this country? Most of you have heard of this name called as Infosys. Again, a huge company. Wipro, huge company. Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, huge. HCL, quite a lot of employees. Tech Mahindra, quite a lot of employees. Polaris, again, a huge company. L&T, Mindtree, Oracle, Emphasis. Some of them are missing here, like Capgemini, Accenture, you might say. These are also really big companies, but of course, you can only put so much in a photo, right? Right. So there are a lot of good companies. Cognizant is there, exactly. Right? Very, very good company. Something that you can work on. IBM, 100%. Very, very fascinated by the fact that you guys know this. Amazing. So quite good, guys. Quite good. Okay. JP Morgan is actually an investment bank. Not that. Deloitte is again another company which deals in that sector, but slightly different. Okay. So now the next question comes in. Why you should be excited for it, right? ठीक है, बढ़िया बातें हैं सब कि हाँ इतने लोगों का सर्विसेज है, 200 कंट्रीज में ऑफिसेस हैं, इतना मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन है, $6 बिलियन की कंपनी है, सब बढ़िया बात है. लेकिन Why should we care about it? Simple, right? Why should I or you worry about it, or why should I care about it? ठीक है, होगी बड़ी company, मेरे लिए क्या है? Simple, no? What is in it? What is there for me in it? So the simple answer is opportunities. I told you at the very beginning, right? 40,000 alone TCS offers, roughly the same number Infosys, right? Half of it definitely Accenture, IBM, all these companies offer. And these companies, there's a myth that surrounds them that they don't pay. They do pay. They do pay quite a bit. Just dream, whatever your dream package is, TCS, Infosys, all these companies, they are quite capable of paying this. Come on, guys, they are humongous companies. Last year, when the list of most important companies or most successful companies was made, Infosys was ranked 63rd in the world. Any company that you can think of, it's quite higher than that. So these guys can pay. They can pay. You just need to be good enough for it. Simple. If whatever your level is, based on that, they pay. Right? That's why, these companies came up with different tests. Like, Infosys came up with its own test, which was nationwide. TCS came up with its own test, which was nationwide. Cognizant also is doing going through something on the similar lines. I'm pretty sure a lot of you would have heard of this, something called as TCS Ninja, TCS Digital, or Infosys Power Programmer, Specialist Programmer. All these things, quite a few might be in your final year. You either would have heard of it or will hear about it very soon. Right? Why are they doing so? Because they want to pay you based on your skills. They can pay. Again, mentioning this very clear. There's a huge myth that surrounds that these companies don't pay. They pay quite a bit. They pay quite a bit. You just have to be good enough. And that's exactly why what we are doing, right, in this session. Okay. How do these companies hire? That's where the next question comes in. How do they hire? क्या क्राइटेरिया है? कैसे सवाल पूछे जाते हैं? क्यों पूछे जाते हैं? क्या करना होता है उनके लिए? हाउ डू दे वर्क अराउंड? सिर्फ रेज्यूमे से हो जाएगा? नहीं, क्योंकि सिर्फ रेज्यूमे से हो जाता तो फिर तो बहुत आसान था. आई वुड हैव मेड अ रेज्यूमे, सिंपल, right? Of course interviews will have to go, but interviews, what do they ask in interviews? What do they ask? What kind of questions do they ask जिसके कारण people, for which people need to be prepared? ऐसा क्या पूछेंगे? What will they ask? Based on that, you need to be prepared, right? Correct. Projects, it's one bit of it. Correct. Okay. And that's where actually my experience comes in a bit handy. When I was in college, I was lucky enough to get interviews from most of these companies, right? Lucky enough to crack some of them, right? And lucky enough to actually go through the entire process. I didn't go through because COVID came in and, the situation was not that good enough at that point of time. And I needed a job, so I went ahead. But quite amazing. I was quite amazed by the interview processes that these companies had. Because, what they were looking for is very particular subset of things. It's not a lot of things, but they are very particular about what they need. मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन जो चाहिए वो particularly वही चाहिए. समझ रहे हो आप? How many of you are able to understand this bit? They don't want a lot of things. They want some very specific things, but they are very particular about it. It's like, if I want 4 things, I want 4 things. एक भी चीज missing है, I'm not looking into it. Simple. That's the part, right? So everything that they give, exactly. Satyam mentioned a very good example. What are those specific things? So generally, if you see whatever they ask comes under 3 things. They're actually just trying to check your aptitude skills. That is your basic problem solving, your basic ability to think, your basic ability to apply your brain, your communication skills, your ability to communicate. This is very important for them because you will be dealing with their clients. And when you talk about clients from all over the country, all over the world will be there, right? So you need to be able to communicate. And last, but definitely not the least, your coding skills, right? Coding skills means, can anybody tell me the definition of coding? Come on. Can anybody tell me the definition of coding skills? Before I go into this, tell me the definition of what according to you is coding skills. Any language of computer, instructions for computer, programming language. Programming language is not a skill, right? Programming language is not a skill. I'll give you a very simple example. Why am I saying this? Let's say if I want to write something on a piece of paper, I need a pen, right? I need a pen, correct? How many of you agree with this? If I want to write something on a piece of paper, I need a pen. Now, is having a pen a skill? No, it's a tool. Pen is a tool. It's not a skill. How to use it, that's a skill. But having a pen is not a skill. Similarly, programming language is a tool. How to use it, that's a skill. Right? That's a skill. But it's not a skill in itself. Okay? Okay. Coding skills, simple. I'll give you a few examples to explain my definition. Then I'll ask you guys to come up with the definition and then we'll see. Okay. Now, I'll give you a very simple question. How many of you have smartphones? How many of you have a smartphone? A phone which is smart, apparently. All of you, obviously. Amazing. Great country to live in. Now, I'll ask you a very simple question, which you could do in your smartphone and non-smartphones as well. How many of you have ever set up an alarm? Let's say I want to wake up at 8 in the morning. I'll set up an alarm for 8 a.m. How many of you have done that? How many of you have done that? Some people are saying I don't have. Even then, you must have set an alarm. Okay. You set up every day. Amazing. Now, let's say if I set up an alarm at 8 o'clock, will it ever happen that the alarm rings at 8:01 or 7:59 or 8:03 or 7:55? नहीं, आज बारिश हो रही है, आज सोने देते हैं, आज मौसम बहुत अच्छा है, आज जल्दी उठा देते हैं. ऐसा कभी हुआ है? Never. Never. It is always at 8 o'clock. Always. How the hell it is always at 8 o'clock? Why never late? 1-2 मिनट का तो लेट हो ही सकता है यार. 1-2 मिनट ऊपर नीचे तो हो ही जाता है. How is it never late? It is never late because it's a damn machine. It's a damn computer. The single thing that computer does is it asks you what I need to do and then does it without asking any questions. If I say wake me up at 8, it will wake me up at 8. It won't bother कि मैं रात को 3 बजे सोया था, मैं 12 बजे सोया था, मौसम खराब है, आज संडे है. It won't bother. If you ask something to be done, it will be done. That's what computers do. Right? Exactly. It follows your command. So now, coming from that analogy, what do you think coding is? Because all of this is code only. You know, what is coding? Simple. What is coding? Coding is giving instructions to the computer. Exactly my point. Coding is giving instructions to the computer. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Giving instructions to the computer. But there's a problem. What is the problem? The problem is a computer is very obedient. What do you mean by that? It does whatever you ask it to do. It does without asking questions. It is not smart, let's say. Okay? I'll give you another simple example. Okay? Exactly, it blindly follows. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say I told you that, to reach Masai school, you have to go straight and then left and then turn right. Okay. Now, what happened is over the time you realize that you don't have to go straight, turn left and then turn right. You can actually just go straight and then just turn left and you will reach Masai school. There are 2 ways to it. Okay. And this one is actually faster. So you will follow the faster path from the next day if you have to come to Masai school every day. Yes or no? ऐसा होता है ना, हमको कोई रास्ता बताया जाता है और हम कुछ से बेहतर रास्ता ढूंढ लेते हैं, फिर वो फॉलो करते हैं. करेक्ट? कंप्यूटर के साथ ऐसा कभी नहीं होने वाला. It will only do what it is supposed to do. It will never happen to it. Right? It will never happen to it. Now, some of you might say, sir, AI आ गया, अब तो हो जाएगा. No. AI is basically built on top of programming. That means you have to set up the program in order to fetch information and act on it. Right? So what is coding? What does computer do? They simply follow instructions. Now, इसके कारण क्या होता है? इसके कारण एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है. What is that problem? What is that problem? क्या होती है प्रॉब्लम? बताओ. प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि whatever we are telling the computer, we have to be 100% thorough with it. हमें सब सोचना पड़ता है. सबका सब सोचना पड़ता है, कुछ भी आप मिस नहीं कर सकते, ऐसा कोई भी इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं हो सकता जो ऑब्वियस है, राइट? देयर इज नो ऑब्वियसनेस फॉर द कंप्यूटर. You tell me what needs to be done, I'll do it. I'll give you a very simple example. ठीक है? Should I give a simple example? Should I? Okay. So I'll ask you two names. Okay, I'll ask you two names. I want you to tell me which one comes first in the dictionary. मैं दो words का नाम लूंगा, आपको बस ये बताना है कौन सा डिक्शनरी में पहले आता है. ठीक है? I know you've been interacting with Aman sir quite a bit, right? Aman Singhal sir quite a bit over the last few days. तो एक उनका नाम लेते हैं, अमन, and let's say take my name now, Ankush. Okay, Aman and Ankush. Just tell me which word comes first in the dictionary. Which word comes first in the dictionary? Aman. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Everyone is smart. How much time did it take for you to solve it? कितना time लगा? 0.01 seconds. Right? 0.01 seconds. Right? So let me tell you what your brain did in that 0.01 second. इस 0.01 second में आपके brain ने पता है क्या किया? Right? What your brain did was it kept two words, Aman and Ankush, both of them together. And then what it did, it started comparing. पहला character of both the names is A. इससे पता चलेगा कौन पहले आएगा कौन नहीं आएगा? नहीं, दोनों same है. You can't make a decision. So you move to the next character. Then N and M. M and N, different words. ठीक है? M अलग है, N अलग है. तो अब मैं पता कर सकता हूँ M और N में से कौन पहले आएगा? M पहले आएगा. तो who comes first? Aman comes first. Right? Just think about it again. Did this not happen in your brain? फिर से सोचो consciously. ये हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? Did this happen? Did this happen? Exactly. It happened. This happened, right? You took the two words, started comparing, and then came up with the answer. Now, just imagine your brain did this so fast that you didn't even realize it. Your brain is super smart. But if I have to give this instruction to a computer, I'll have to go next level. In fact, I want you guys to show the code also for this. Should I show the code of this particular thing where, it basically tells which one comes first in the dictionary? I'll actually show it. One second. Let me just open it up for you guys. So in any language, see, again, guys, language should not be the parameter. What language does? Language is giving instructions, right? You are saying that writing with one pen is better than the other pen. That's not a skill. It's again not a skill. What to write is something. So you see this particular code, what it does for me is just gives me the same thing, this particular thing. You see this one. So it's quite a long code. Why it is long? I was able to do this in 0.01 seconds, but still, why I have to code so much for it? What do you think, guys? Why have to why so much? Why so much? Why? Because I have to think of every possible step. I can't assume anything. Exactly. I have to be precise. Whatever that happened in my head, I had to come up with every single instruction and I had to be accurate. That's the point. Right? Exactly. That's what coding is. Coding is deep critical thinking. That's it. Coding is deep thinking at a level which you have not thought of it yet. Not missing anything. That's it. Right? Getting my point. How many of you understand this? How many of you are okay with it? All good? Do you understand what is coding now? Coding is putting that fast running brain, slowing it down, figuring out every single step, and then giving instructions. That's the point. Okay, cool. But let's jump into the conversation that we were having. The conversation that we were having is, how do these companies hire? The basic thing that they do is aptitude, communication skills, and coding skills. Now, how do they assess, let's say, each of these aspects? I'll first start with aptitude. Okay, communication skills is slightly off the radar for this particular day, so I'll just talk a little bit about it, and then we'll talk about coding skills. But let's talk about aptitude first. Now, this is one question which I got in my interview when I was trying to interview at TCS. Okay, and I would actually want everyone to give it a shot. Come on, let's take 30 seconds. All of you, take a piece of paper and start solving. Come on. If you don't have, that's okay. Just try to write it down somewhere and solve it. Okay. Okay, I got one good answer, two good answers, three good answers. Someone is saying 111 plus 11. That's actually 122, not 120. Very simple. Okay. Another good answer, another good answer, another good answer. Okay, 30 seconds up. Most of you answered it. So, what is this question? I'll tell you a small story behind this. So, this came up during my interview at TCS. What I was asked is, I was given this piece of paper and it was written exactly like this. 5 ones equals to 120, and I was told that you have the following mathematical equations, you need to solve it. Of course, what is the answer? 11 into 11 minus 1 equals to 120. That's it. Not a very difficult question to answer, correct? Not a very difficult question to answer, yes or no? Everyone agrees? Quite easy, no? Simple. Just put your logic there. That's it. Exactly. So, why did I came up with this question? Why am I showing you this question? Because it's not that tough. What you need is a presence of mind, and you need to be good with simple maths. Simple maths. Okay. Now, let's take another question. Another question that they asked. Now, I'll have to explain this question a little bit. So, I'm going to take 2-3 minutes to explain this. Okay. Now, everyone with me? Is everyone with me here? Everyone सब सुन रहा है मेरी बात? एकदम अच्छे से? Okay. Please listen to this, really important. Okay. So this was another question that came up. This time it came up in one of my interviews at Infosys. Okay. So the question was very simple. I was given 3 baskets, oranges, apples, and apples plus oranges. What does that mean? That this particular box, according to the label, according to the name written, this box contains just oranges. This box contains just apples, and this box contains just apples plus oranges. And then I was told another thing, that all of these labels are false. All of these labels are false. That means oranges wale mein oranges definitely nahi hai. The one with oranges labeled as oranges definitely doesn't contain oranges. Same is the case with apples, and same is the case with apple plus orange. Okay. Now the next thing. What is the next thing? The next thing is I can insert my hand once into any of these boxes, just once, and I have to figure out all the 3. I have to figure out exactly which one contains apples, which one contains oranges, and which one contains apple plus oranges. How many of you got the question? समझ में आया? कितनों को समझ में आया ये सवाल? एक बार आप हाथ insert कर सकते हो एक box में, and you have to figure out which one contains what. Might, how many of you actually are able to answer this? Okay. Not able to answer? Okay. Try a bit harder, no then. Okay, can't understand? Koi baat nahi. You can. Okay. Chalo, let's try to solve this. Okay. Exactly, it's quite easy, not difficult, but something that you'll have to think. Let's think about this. Acha, ek baat batao. What is the one thing that we are aware of? One thing that we are aware of is apples plus oranges definitely does not contains apples plus oranges. It either contains apples or oranges. Yes or no? Correct? This is one thing I'm sure about. Apples plus oranges definitely contains just apples or just oranges. Correct? So what will I do is, let me insert my hand inside this. And whatever fruit I get, let's say if I get apples, it completely just contains apples. Yes or no? Correct? It just contains either apples or oranges. So let's say if it contains apples. Now, if this contains apples, then what is the next thing? The next box is written apples. That means it either contains oranges or apples plus oranges, right? Correct? या तो उसमें oranges हैं, या तो apples plus oranges है, because apples is not true, right? Correct? But oranges यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. So this one either contains apples or apples plus oranges. Lekin, you already found apples. Where did you find apples? In the first basket. So what does the second basket contain? Second basket में क्या होगा फिर? Oranges. And what is the remaining? What is the third one? Apples. Simple, no? Simple, right? Simple, exactly. It's simple. Simple. But the problem is you have to come up with this logic in a very tense environment. That's why you need practice. Okay. So, but okay. Some of you might take a little bit of time to understand this question. That's okay. Take your time. You go through this, not a problem. You will be getting this recording anyway, so you can go through it. Now, my next question or my reason of telling this is, guys, aptitude, people feel it's a blocker. It's not that big a blocker. It's quite easy actually. You're not supposed to be super smart. What you're supposed to be is having a presence of mind. ability to understand the question. Okay. Now someone is asking a very tough question. Were you able to solve this during your test? Proud to say yes. Yes, I was able to answer this. Okay. Cool. I like the fact that you question things. It's not like if I am here, that doesn't mean I was able to answer everything. It's a good thing. Okay. In how much time? Roughly, if I remember the time correctly, it took me around 4.5 minutes, I guess. Yeah. So roughly around that. But that timing is not a parameter. You can take, I think, till 7 minutes. Okay, cool. So this is how they assess aptitude. Not very difficult questions, but questions which are something that you need to give a thought, something that you need to be prepped for. थोड़ा दिमाग लगाना जरूरी है जहाँ पे, right? पर थोड़ा दिमाग लगाने के लिए आपको दिमाग को प्रैक्टिस करवाते रहना पड़ेगा कि दिमाग लगता रहे, right? Simple. Now, I told you I'm not going to be talking a lot about the communication aspect of skills, right? Why? Because that is something that we all are pretty much aware of, right? All of us, come from different backgrounds, but हम सबको ये पता है, being in this country, that you should be able to speak a language, right? Now, most people within or outside this country know English. That's why it's a good option to know English. But language तो आनी ही चाहिए, right? Simple. So you are supposed to be good at a language. Simple. English, why? Because it's universal. It's much easier to get around with English rather than in any other language. You would be good inside the country and outside the country as well, right? So that is something that all of us equally understand. All of us really know about it. That's why I'm not going to be talking a lot about it. I'd rather come to the point where I can provide some insights. That is a coding ability. I already told you what is coding ability, right? Now, let me just deep dive into a little bit on how do they assess coding ability. Okay. So let me ask you again a very simple question. Question बहुत simple है, right? बहुत popular है, बहुत simple है, and it is one of the easier ones that these companies ask. Okay. So let's read the question together, folks. Everyone, come on. Given a list of numbers in the range of 1 to n, all the numbers are present in the list except for one number. Find out the missing number. सवाल बहुत सिंपल है. आपके पास एक लिस्ट है, उसमें सारे के सारे नंबर एक रेंज में फॉल करते हैं, या तो 1 से बड़े हैं और n से छोटे हैं. दोनों सारे के सारे नंबर ये पर्टिकुलर कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई कर रहे हैं. करेक्ट? ऑल द नंबर्स आर सेटिस्फाइंग दिस कंडीशन. ओके, सारे के सारे नंबर प्रेजेंट है बिटवीन 1 to n एक्सेप्ट फॉर 1. वो आपको वो मिसिंग नंबर ढूंढना है. ठीक है, आपको बस वो मिसिंग नंबर, जो नंबर वहां पे नहीं है, आपको वो ढूंढना है. ठीक है. सो n can be anything. It will be given to you as input. Okay, n can be anything. Okay, like let's just take the sample test case, sample example that is given to us. Like let's say n is equals to 6 and the list that is given to you is 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. What is the output? What is the output? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the output? 1 is 6, n is 6. So 1 to 6, all the numbers are present except for 1. Which number is not present in the range of 1 to 6? 1 से 6 के बीच में ऐसा कौन सा नंबर है जो इस लिस्ट में नहीं है? क्या है उसका सवाल? Like what is the answer of it? 6. All of you answer in one go. How did you figure this out? How did you figure this out? Let's deep dive into the braining part of things. How did you get this? By seeing, of course. But what did your brain do when it saw it? Brain ने क्या किया? Brain ने क्या किया ऐसा? Len function in Python. What your brain did was, your brain knew two things. Brain को पता था कि जितने भी नंबर हैं, they are in the range of 1 to 6. All the numbers are in the range of 1 to 6. Okay, correct? Then what your brain did was, it started looking for every number. 1 है क्या? हाँ है. 2 है क्या? हाँ है. 3 है क्या? हाँ है. 4 है क्या? हाँ है. 5 है क्या? हाँ है. तो कौन सा नंबर नहीं है? 6 है? नहीं है. That's it. Exactly. Am I correct? Did everyone do this? Did everyone do this? Check for 1, check for 2, check for 3, check for 4, check for 5, check for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all are present except for 6, which is the missing number. 6. That's it. Solved. That's exactly what the solution is. If I go to the next step, you must have heard a lot about algorithms yesterday, right? Very fancy word, amazing word. One of my sort of life works around it. So I love that word algorithm, but this is how they are generally written, right? Scan through all the elements from 1 to n. Okay, that means pick each number from 1 to n. Check if each element is present in the list or not. Again, if it is present, then move to the next element in the list. Otherwise, repeat step 3 for all the elements from 1 to n. Is this making sense to everyone? Sabko samajh mein aa raha hai? It's one of the easier questions, of course, but how many of you are able to understand this? This is exactly how deep you will have to think if you are ever going to code. Right? Because see, guys, there's a difference between a coder and a non-coder. This difference is simple. A coder knows how he came up to the solution. How he came to, how was he able to answer this? And a non-coder might not always know that. Simple. A coder always know how he got the answer. Right? You should always be able to answer the how of things if you are a coder. How did you came up with this? That's the most important question. Now, I was skimming through all the messages. Ek message aaya bada acha wala, bada important wala, bada badhiya wala, right? A really nice message came in. That person said that all the numbers are present in the list except for one. That means, let's say if the value of n is equals to 10, then except for one number, all other numbers will be present. Correct? Simple. Hai na? Simple. So let's say what I can do is I can add all the numbers from 1 to n. जितने भी नंबर है 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 सबको ऐड कर लेते हैं, सबका सम कर लेते हैं. कर सकते हैं guys? Can we do it? Can we sum all the numbers from 1 to 10? कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, फिर जितने भी नंबर उस लिस्ट में है उनका भी सम कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, उनका भी सम कर लेते हैं. करेक्ट? ठीक है. Now tell me which sum will be bigger. Which sum will be bigger? The first one or the second one? 1 to 10, of course. जिसमें सारे के सारे नंबर है वो वाला sum. Correct? And then second one, it will be smaller. Why? Because it has one number less. एक नंबर कम होगा ना उसमें. What will be the difference between the two lists? जो दो sum आपने निकाले हैं उनके बीच में difference क्या होगा? The missing number. That's it. Right? That's the answer. Quite interesting, right? And to make our job even more easier, we have a formula. We have a formula to calculate the first n numbers. The sum of first n numbers, sorry. That is n into n plus 1 by 2. Simple. Right? So I was going through an article very recently. I'd like to tell you the small story. Where, how was this explained was, let's say if you have a huge cake and you cut one piece out of it. ठीक है, आपके पास एक बहुत बड़ा सा केक है, आपने उसमें से एक पीस निकाल लिया. वो पीस का साइज कुछ भी हो सकता है. ठीक है, फिर आपने एक बहुत बड़ा सेम केक पूरा का पूरा लिया है. अब उस केस में उस जो आपने नया केक लेके आए हो और ये केक जो आपने थोड़ा सा काट लिया है, उन दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है? वो पीस, the piece that you cut off. That's exactly what you're doing here, right? सेम चीज कर रहे हो ना आप. Everyone able to relate? कैसे हो रहा है वो दोनों चीजें सेम क्यों है? It's simple. Correct? So very interesting, right? And that's another solution. Now the best part about coding problems is you have multiple solutions, right? You need to choose the best ones, right? So again, the sum of first n natural numbers is given by the formula n into n plus 1. Find the sum of first n natural numbers, find the sum of all the numbers present in the list, find the difference between the two sums, calculated, which will be your answer. Again, very simple. How many of you found this incredibly simple? काफी simple था ये, है ना? Right? Yes or no? Quite simple. But why is this being written in steps? Because you'll have to code it. And if you have to code it, you should know every single step. Again, the how is important. That's how you can code it. If you don't know the how, you can never code it. अगर आपको ये नहीं पता कि आंसर कैसे निकाला था, आप कोड नहीं कर पाओगे. So how is important, right? That's why these algorithms are written. That's why these steps are written. Very important. Okay, cool. But now, as I told you, right, these companies are capable of paying quite a bit. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि these companies would never pay. These companies pay. You need to be a little bit more smarter. You need to be, bit more in terms of this one aspect, which is coding ability. Aptitude, okay. Communication, okay. But if you want to, let's say, go to another role, right? Let's say if you want to be a TCS digital member, or let's say a power programmer or a specialist programmer, you need to be able to answer, you need to be better on this particular thing, particular skill, which is the coding ability, right? Like I'll give you another question here. Okay. Now, this is one of the questions which came in quite recently in the TCS Code Vita, right? Code Vita is another competition that is held by TCS quite frequently. How many of you can understand the question? I'm giving you, like, let's say 1 minute to go through this entire slide. I know there are 6-7 lines to be read. How many of you can understand this? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can understand this, or a thumbs down if you can't understand this, or a 1 or a 0? Let's play binary. 1 if you understood this, 0 if you did not understood it. Come on. And there's no doubt. This is not that easy problem to understand. Exactly. That's not a problem. A lot of you might not be able to get it. Do you know why you're not able to understand this? How many of you know you are not able to understand this? How many of you understand that, okay, this is a bit difficult to understand? How many of you can do that? Someone is saying, let me read. Okay, sure. I'm giving you 15 seconds more. Let's go for it. No, it has nothing to do with code. Where is code? Little bit difficult. Okay. The answer is, why are you not able to understand this? Is because your brain is better at understanding visuals rather than words. Our brains were not meant to, let's say, understand words. Our brains were able to understand images. So let's try something. एक काम करते हैं. इस image के through, let's try to understand the problem. So the problem is very simple. What you're given is, you're given a garden. Okay. And each garden has certain slots. The garden has certain slots. Okay. And where flowers are already present, wo wahan pe 1 hai. Or where flowers are not present, it is written 0. Okay. Now what you need to do is, you need to figure out that can you place some k number of flowers in this position or not. Okay. In this list, ये जो आपको एक list दी गई है या आपको एक जगह दी गई है, आप इसमें k number of flowers place कर सकते हो कि नहीं कर सकते हो. उसके लिए एक rule क्या है कि you cannot place 2 flowers adjacently. What is the meaning of adjacent? मतलब मान लीजिए मैं खड़ा हूं, मगर मैं एक flower हूं. I don't want to be a flower, but let's say मैं एक flower हूं, तो ना मेरे आजू में कोई flower होना चाहिए, ना मेरे बाजू में. Now this side, now this side. There should not be flower on any other side. Correct? So now tell me, by looking at this, where can you place a flower? Can you place a flower at the first position? No, you can't. Can you place a flower at the second position? It is empty. It is 0. That means वहां पे आप place कर सकते थे. But ना आजू में ना बाजू में, ना this side ना this side. There should not be a flower on this side or that side. Is there? It is there. So you can't place. So you move to the next position. What is the next position? 0 again. So empty. That means you can place a flower. But what is the next thing you will have to check? Aju and baju. Can you place it? Let's place it there. Okay. So I am able to place 1 flower. Now I come to the last position. Now for the last position, the position is empty. Okay. Can I place a flower there? No. Why I can't? Because I just placed a flower at the 3rd position. So side mein aa gaya na. So either I can place at the 3rd position or the 4th position. Simple. That's the question. And what you need to be able to do is, you need to tell what is the number of flowers that you can place, and is that value greater than or equals to k? If it is, say yes, otherwise say no. How many of you understand the question now? How many of you understand this question? Very important. Understand? See guys, that's the beauty of visualization. That's the beauty of images. That is the beauty of having visual understanding of something. You will never be able to understand just by words. It's very difficult. And trust me, we've done a lot of work at pedagogy, which is the way to teach at Masai. And most of our learning has come down to just one single part, is you should be able to understand visual images. You need to make it easier to understand things, and then things make a lot of sense, right? Okay, cool. Now let's try to go through the solution, because I think most of you already did it, right? Most of you already did it. Let's say I go back to the question again. If I'm going to give a couple of minutes again for people to think about the solution, but let me just explain the problem again. Problem is very simple. You need to figure out what are the different places at which you can place a flower, which is indicated by 1. 1 means flower, 0 means not a flower. Okay. So let's say if you place one, you have to find different positions at which you can place a flower. Okay, like at the first position, a flower is already present. You can't do it. At the second position, it is empty, but you can't place a flower because it contains a flower on the other side. Similarly, at the third position, you can place a flower, right? It's not there, it's not there. And then at the last one. To make you understand this even more, how many of you remember COVID? How many of you remember a word which was very popular during COVID called as social distancing? Called as social distancing. Are you aware of it? आपको पता है सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग में क्या होता था? अगर एक बंदा यहाँ पे खड़ा है तो 6 मीटर तक दूसरा बंदा नहीं खड़ा हो सकता, ना इस साइड ना इस साइड ना उस साइड ना इस साइड, राइट? You have to maintain a distance of 6 meters, exactly the same. This is a real life problem, guys. It's a real life problem, right? How do you think how they were figuring out how many people can sit in a particular bench in times of COVID? By this, simple, right? Are you able to relate that? So these are real life problems. These are problems which have a lot of potential. And you know what? TCS and Infosys both actually were involved in ensuring security measures, automated security measures are updated during times of COVID, right? So actually this is something that they've worked on, right? So very, very important. So now let me come down to the answer. What is the answer? The answer is very simple. What you have to do, you have to go through each and every element, each and every position, right? And for each position, you have to first check the first thing. What is the first thing? Is this position empty? That means, is a flower already placed? Is a flower already present? If the answer is yes, you move on to the next position. If the answer is no, then comes another interesting part. If the position is empty, check, is there anything to the left? Is there anything to the right? If there is nothing to the left and nothing to the right, that means this position is free to check. Place a flower, increment your count. That means count how many flowers are you counting, and then move on to the next position. Then move on to the next position. Keep doing this until you have done this for all positions, right? And once you're done, just check how many flowers have you been able to place. If you say K, is it greater than or equals to? Just give that answer, right? How many of you understood? It seems a very complicated problem, and trust me, it is. It is one of the harder ones, 100% one of the harder ones. But if you break it down, if you simplify it, if you simplify each and every step, if you think deep enough, it will work. And that's why that's the solution. Scan through all the elements from start to end for each element. If the value is 1, ignore it and move to the next element. If the value is 0, check if the previous value and the succeeding value both have 0. That means empty. If yes, increment the count of placed flowers. Check if the count is greater than or equal to K or not. If yes, print yes. Right? Quite simple. Yes or no? Everyone understood? Everyone understood? So guys, this is how these companies hire, and trust me, they do pay for it quite a bit. Like let's say TCS Digital is one of the well-paid jobs in this country. Same is the case with Infosys Power Programmer, right? Now, why it is important to understand this, guys? See, because eventually the thing that will differentiate you getting, let's say, a nominal package or a package which is amazing is your problem-solving ability, is your ability to code, right? And both the things subsidize. The better you are at coding, the better you get at problem solving, because coding requires you to think deep. Coding requires you to use your brain so much that eventually it gets better. Your problem solving ability gets better. And that's why it is important, right? So that's exactly what our forte is at Masai, right? We've been able to understand how to teach coding. It's okay. Anyone can teach coding. That's okay. If someone understands something well enough, they can teach it. But how do you teach it? How should I teach something so that the other person can understand, so that it makes sense, right? That's why. And that's why you have the Career Accelerator Program, CAP as we call it, right? And I think you guys are already aware of the 15-day trial period that's about to commence, right? Whatever you're doing right now in 1 hour, that's tiny bits and pieces of it. You can actually understand a lot more about how things are done. Once you get access to the course or once you get signed up for the course. So something that I would recommend. Okay. And now someone is asking a question in which language should I write an algorithm? C, Java, and others. Again, guys, the pen is not important. What do you write with the pen? That's important. Languages will come and go. There are languages developed every day, right? So not something that you need to be worried about, but something that you should be, of course, be conscious when choosing a language, but not something that you need to be super obsessed about, right? Cool. So best language for DSA. Best language for DSA. Any programming language, any language which allows you to convert your thought process into code. That's it. As simple as that. Guys, come on. If something was dependent on a pen, that's not a skill that's worth learning, right? If what you write depends on the pen, then what is your addition to it, right? Usme skill kya hua fir, right? So simple hai. So don't worry about the pen too much. Worry about what you're going to write with the pen. फिर तो कोई भी पेन से लिख लोगे, right? एक पेन मिला, दूसरा पेन मिल जाएगा, उससे भी लिख लोगे. Okay, exactly. So cool. That's it, folks, from my side. That's everything I had to cover for today. That's my last bit. Thank you very much. Again, this is just a tiny bit of it. I hope everyone understood what this means and how exactly things are happening. And yeah, that's probably more or less it from my side. If you have questions, definitely would love to answer them. And yeah, Vivek, back to you on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ankush. Lovely session. I think I said this yesterday in Sydney's session, and I'm saying it again. Guys, this is the kind of talent which we are having here at Masai. To be very honest, I believe that each and every one of you loved their way of demonstrating how to solve a problem, how to develop the ability of solving a problem. I believe that each and every one of you would have loved the session to its core. Now, what we'll be doing is we'll be coming on to the fun part of the day, after which we'll be taking 2, 3 questions, which you might think that you need to get answers from Ankush. So yeah, quiz, a lot of folks have already started guessing it. So yes, I hope each and every one of you are ready for the fun part of the day, that is quiz. For people who are not aware about what exactly it is nothing. It is just a small activity in which we give 5 questions every day. And a lot of, most of the people who are joining the webinar, joining this particular session, they attempt it and then they see their names on the leaderboard. Yes, that's a very fun part. So what we'll be doing is only once you'll be attending the quiz, only then you'll be able to see your names onto the leaderboard. Okay, great. So I have sent the quiz link in the chat box, and I would request each and every one of you to kindly proactively participate in this particular activity, right? So a lot of time, what we usually do is we are left behind only because we procrastinate a lot. I don't know how many of you, but some of them have already started thinking, even if I'll attempt the quiz, what if my name, comes, let's say, not in 100, not in top 100, not in top 50, right? So let me tell you, for people who are attempting that, they're already way ahead of you. Okay. So thinking it is one thing, thinking and doing it is another thing. So this does not only apply to quiz. It was a very easy example, which is why I gave it. But I think Ankush should also agree that, people in age between 20 to 25 or 25 to 30, they usually have this habit of procrastinating a lot. I mean, Ankush, we have seen thousands of students. You have taught thousands of students. You have been a part of the journey of them becoming successful web developers. And a lot of them might have come to you and said that, initially that we want to become a developer. If hundreds of them have come to you, then only 10 of them became successful. The reason those 10 became successful is they believed in more in doing, less in talking. Yeah. So great. Now, for people who have already attempted this particular quiz, now I would request that in case you're having any kind of doubts, any kind of questions you want to get answered to, please let me know into the Q&A box. Okay. So Ankush, Ankita Kumari is asking that which language is popularly used by companies nowadays?
Which language is popularly used by companies nowadays? And nowadays, actually depends on the company and depends on different kinds of things. They might be using languages which you might not have heard of. But only one thing stays constant is basics don't change, right? The way I'm giving instructions, it remains the same, right? So it doesn't really matter. And again, as I said, different companies, different kinds of requirements they have, and that's why, they work with different languages. So it would be unfair to say what is every company's favorite language, because it's like asking like which is the language that everyone will speak. Even let's say if
Right.
we talk about India, Hindi is not spoken by everyone, right? So that's not actually a good answer to give. What I would say is the fundamentals are very important, right? So if you can get a good hang of a particular programming language, that means you know how to, write with a pen, you will be able to write with any other pen. It might take a little bit of time for you to get used to another type of pen, but you will be able to figure it out. That's the thing.
Very well put forward, Ankush, and I believe this helps students who wanted an answer to this particular question. Another question coming from Sanya Jain. So obviously, Ankush, usually what usually happened is a day before yesterday, Mr. Yogesh took the session with the students on how to build, good kick-ass resume, right? So get selected into good product and service-based companies. So he also demonstrated how you can leverage the technology of ChatGPT and leverage the technology of AI in helping you do that. Now, Sanya here is asking, what do you think that we want to become a web developer? So along with internships, that is important, but then there comes what we call importance of projects as well, right? One is expected to build projects. So
Correct.
which one of them is given more importance, projects or internships or both?
So what I've understood in my journey is the answer is in which one did you go more deeper? Right. Let's say if it was an internship, did you do just what was asked of you to do, or did you do it a bit more than that? Did you, let's say, if as your manager assigned you a task X, did you just do X, or did you ask that why this X has to be done this way? Is there another way to do it? Right. So and similarly in your projects, did you just do the basic functionality, or did you actually try to optimize it? Did you try to work around those bits? So it's very simple. The answer to it is depth, right? Whatever you do, just try to do it a little bit more and more and more, because everyone does projects, everyone does internships, but do you understand a bit more than what is
Perfect.
outlined? That's the idea.
Uh, Thank you, Ankush. And not one of the last questions, but yes, a very important question, and asking this from the perspective of all of the students who are attempting this session and not having the prior knowledge of coding, might not have been BTech in, let's say, computer science or even mechanical. So, what programming language would you recommend for a beginner to start with?
uh See, I started coding in C++, like C and C++, but I eventually moved to Java, and I've been coding in Java for some time. But I've known people, like most of the students that I have taught, they started with JavaScript, ended up doing amazing. I know a lot of people who are now starting with Python and are doing incredible things.
Hmm.
So language again is not the answer. The answer is how well do you understand things, right? Very simple. So language again is not the answer. But
Thank
again,
you.
one thing I would definitely recommend is trying to understand how things work. If you get that, it'll be quite easy.
Perfect. Ankush, I hope you are aware that we introduced this new program called as Career Accelerator Program to this bunch of interested folks the day before yesterday. So, what would I want to ask you is, how do you think that this particular program, which we have bought, and I think you were also part of developing the pedagogy of the way it is taught to the students, how do you think that this can be helpful for each and every one of the folks who are present out here?
So I think some bits from my session I would try to use to just connect the dots. Like let's say I'll just
Mhm.
start with a very simple fact that how many jobs do we have in tech? Like let's say half of our GDP comes from tech, right? Half of our earning of this country comes from tech. That means there are a lot of jobs. It's an amazing time to be in this country. It's only going to increase, right? That means first of all, the domain is correct. You're going in the right direction. And second, the best thing that I feel that we can provide in this particular course is, see, it's not about teaching you to code. It's about teaching you to code in a way that you can understand, in a way that you can actually understand things. Most people run from coding because the way it is taught is not awesome. It's not good enough, right? It's too complicated. It should not be like that. It's not complicated. I like to refer computer science is basically common sense. It's not a very difficult science. It's a common sense based science. But the way you teach it, that becomes another ball game. And that's where I think we, with after graduating 3,000 students, after spending so much time on how to teach, right, we I think, have an edge. And that's where CAP comes in, right? If CAP can help you understand those things, you will actually start off on a new journey. And of course, why do I understand this is because I did not come from the most fanciest background, right? I did not had the what do you say, the most branded college name ever, right? So what I had to do was I had to struggle through the grind. I had to figure things out, and I had to do things on my own. And the simple answer was the way it is taught is not correct, right? You should not be teaching in that regard, the way coding. But now, as part of Masai, as part of someone who's been there and done that, I understand teaching, the way you teach, the pedagogy that we call it, it's much more important than anything else. And that's where CAP can help these guys out. And I can recommend that. And I can actually say that one of the good things about CAP is and everything we do at Masai is that we are not very restricted in our approach. We just don't focus on coding skills. We understand that with coding, you need to be able to speak, you need to have communication skills, you need to have behavior skills, and that's all adds up. So nothing better than that, I guess.
And I mean, that was really good, Ankush. And would love to add few things out here as to why the Career Accelerator program is not only good but an awesome opportunity for each and every one of you to progress and become what you always wanted to. That is the software developer. So Ankush, I mean, all of us are very much aware that yes, मैंने आज सोच लिया कि I want to become a developer, but then I do not want to, invest upon to that as well, both in terms of time and money, right? I think that everything is available on to this particular platform called as internet or for free, and I'll be, I'll wake up one day and I'll just, scrounge towards all the resources, and the day after next I'll be becoming a software developer. If that was it was that easy, then I believe that half of the India would have already become software developer. So I mean, the demand for software developers, the people wanting to become software developers, has risen considerably, right? But very few of them know that how to what it takes is investing your energy, investing your time, and investing your money in a good direction. And that is where CAP actually comes into picture, right? So I think, Ankush, you would agree with me that what Career Accelerator program is trying to do, we are trying to we are providing the same program in a very organized manner, because out there on the internet, resources are available but only in a cluttered form. Students need guidance, how to start, from where to start, what to do, what not to do, right? So if you can comment a few lines upon to that as well.
Yeah, sure. So see, if internet would have been the answer, we would be producing the most number of software developers in the world, because our internet consumption is way higher than any other country. So internet is definitely not the answer. And second, I think internet is a problem of too many. That means, let's say, if I start with something, at some point I need to stop, right? At some point I need to do it in a way which makes sense. Like, let's say you go to the gym, you have thousands of bundles, you have a dumbbell, sorry, you have dumbbells of every particular weight, but you don't go and pick the 50 kg dumbbell on day one, right? You gradually get there. You first lift a 2 kg dumbbell, 5 kg dumbbell, 10 kg, and then you gradually go up, right? If you don't do that, you would never be able to do the gym. If I go in day one and I start lifting 50 kgs, I would either die or I would stop doing the gym. Simple. Similar is the case with coding. If you just go and randomly start surfing the internet and start figuring things out, you would never be able to do it. You will be stuck, right? And then that's where CAP comes in. What CAP does for you is you need not worry about that's couching wala part. You need not worry about that difficult part, right? It's like you need to go to the gym. You just need to go through it, right? And someone is saying, sir, but no one lifts 50 kg. That's correct, because people are aware. Why are you aware? Because it is mainstream, but coding is not mainstream yet, right? There we need guidance. And that's where CAP comes in. And what CAP can provide for you is a well-structured course, something that you don't have to worry about. You can be sure of outcomes. And second, most importantly, it is very relevant, right? Like whatever things I taught you, it's something that we teach in our curriculum, right? Whatever things we discussed, it's something that we discussed in our curriculum. So our curriculum is heavily focused on making sure that people are job ready, not just, you know, knowing the terms. I know what is data structures, I know what is algorithm, but I can't use it. Doesn't make sense. Zero, right? If you can't earn through it, what's the point? Correct. So that's what exactly this point is. It's very much targeted, it's very much focused, it's very much relevant, which is something that most colleges, or I would say all colleges, are not able to do. Right. So this is something that we worked on quite a bit and something that we can work around. Right. And
I think that really makes sense, and students are quite excited about showing them their leaderboard. So definitely we'll be jumping onto that, but in 1 minute. I think Ankush, we both are noticing the chat box. Student, what kind of queries the students are raising, and I think it's very easy to make out that one of the very basic problem which is observable through this is students are not having structure. They do not know where to start from. I mean, even if I were in their place, I'm also not coming from a coding background. I might know few languages, but at the same point of time, I'm also a noob, right? I'm also a beginner. So this is what I would wanted to, if I would be in their place, I would want to ask, कि from where to start? कहाँ से शुरुआत करूँ मैं? मेरे को coder बनना है, मुझे developer बनना है, लेकिन मैं शुरुआत कहाँ से करूँ? That is where in the picture comes career accelerator program, guys. And I think this is something which is a very basic problem which we both can observe, where students are asking where to start from. We can tell you where to start from, but what after that, right? It's not something like if we'll tell you where to start from, then you'll become a coder or developer 2 days after, or a week after, or a month after. No, right? So what career accelerator program in today's time is trying to do is we're trying to provide you industry relevant skills, those skills which are relevant, which the industries are looking forward to, right? So that is what we are trying to do, guys. And I believe Aman Singhal very shortly, either today or tomorrow, he'll be again coming, and he'll be speaking with all of you, and he'll be interacting with all of you, and he'll also be putting forward more value propositions which this super duper program is bringing up. Okay. Meanwhile, I would request my team Supriya and if you can kindly show me the leaderboard, or if you can announce the top 5 folks who are there today on the leaderboard. Students are saying big fan of yours, Ankush. Ankush is a part of Masai, and he is one of the person you'll be getting the opportunity to interact every now and then once you join the course, obviously.
if you are here, definitely there is going to be interactions. Definitely a lot of conversations. And yeah, whoever mentioned, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, perfect. Meanwhile, the team is coming up with the leaderboard. If there is any kind of doubt, even if there is any kind of basic doubt, guys, this is something which we prioritize here a lot in Masai. We do not really care what kind of doubts are coming forward, right? It might happen कि एक week हो गया उस चीज को पढ़ाए हुए, and usually what happens is at a lot of places that you are not what you call motivated to ask that kind of question. But in Masai, we do not really care about that. If you're having a doubt, come forward it and we'll solve it, right? So in case you are feeling nervous, there's a thin line before feeling nervous and asking that first question. You have to cross that. Okay, perfect. I think I'll take this
So,
question. It's
yeah,
okay. I think we are ready with
sorry,
the
yeah.
leaderboard.
So the most awaited leaderboard as always. So we are already there. And I'll quickly share my screen. And here's the top 5. So I'll just go through and read. Ipsita is leading, I think, from last a day or two. Vishnu Mohan, Atharva, Anuswar, Shashanka, Mundal, Namrita Anand, Adarsh Mudgal, and many more to go. So you know where to go. You can just go onto our website. The link will be shared with you as well. You can search your name here. It's on the prepleap.com website, and you can just go to the bootcamp, and here when you scroll down, you get the leaderboard. So yes, so congratulations, those of you who are on the top. And we want more of you to participate. It's okay if you missed 1 or 2 quizzes. You still hold a chance to top the leaderboard. So please do that. And most important, focus on the session so you get best of learnings possible. Thank you, everyone, and good luck again. Yeah, Vivek, over to you.
Thank you so much, Supriya. Another interesting fact, another interesting activity which is coming forward is, again, we would request each and every one of you to participate in this, proactively. What you can basically do is go onto LinkedIn, make a post, let us know what did you learn from the sessions which we have covered so far, right? Keep it relevant, keep it towards the session, whatever you learned in today's session. You can tag Ankush, you can tag Aman Singhal, you can also put a hashtag of hashtag PrepLeaf, hashtag Masai Tool, and hashtag TechEdge. The most innovative post, we'll be deciding the most innovative post. Guys, this is a chance which I believe none of you should miss, because half of you who have created your LinkedIn account are nervous that, okay, we haven't posted anything, and what would be our first post? Let this be your first post. Half of you who have not created the LinkedIn account, you'll again be procrastinating for the next coming 3-4 months before creating an account, because this is something which is important if you want to become a professional in corporate domain, right? So let today this be your first post about, in regards to what did you learn in this particular program of TechEdge, especially this session taken by Mr. Ankush, or any of the previous sessions as well, right? The most innovative post. This is where you'll have to bring in your creativity. This is where you'll have to bring in your attention to detail, whatever you learned. The most innovative post will be getting assorted gift prizes. Okay, I hope that is clear, and I'm really looking forward to see all of you in tomorrow's session. In case there is any kind of concern, in case you want to know more about the value proposition of career accelerator program, do not worry. I know all of you are missing Mr. Aman Singhal. He's the one with whom all of you are very much proactive, and you love to interact with him. He'll be coming most probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and again he'll be giving more value propositions about what the career accelerator program is bringing in for all of you. Okay, thank you so much, Ankush. Lovely session. Thank you so much, and have a good night, all of you.